Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Mad Mamluks podcast. My name is Sim. Along with me are my co-hosts, Sheikh Amir,
Assalamu alaikum.
Mort,
Assalamu alaikum.
and another guy who's running late, Shaq. He'll be here soon. Folks, thank you for joining us this evening. Before we get started, help us out on patreon.com/the Mad Mamluks. Alternatively, you can help us out through PayPal as well at the Mad Mamluks. Sorry, the Mad Mamluks at gmail.com. Is everything all right,
Give me the
fellas?
remote.
Sheikh is
I didn't
grabbing.
see it there.
Give me
Mort
like 8
is silently
different remotes, bro.
asking for something.
And he gave me like two
I
different
couldn't even see if it was
remotes.
hidden. It was
I went like
concealed.
this.
Yeah, this is that too. Anyways, go ahead, Sim.
Sheikh,
Sheikh.
did you vote?
I did not know.
Why didn't you vote?
Because I'm a loser. Plain and simple, I'm a loser.
You know,
I don't
it's
care.
what they call in your country ithm.
Yeah. Oh, I heard it
That's
all.
sin.
I heard it all.
The Arabic term for sin. That's
Oh, really? So if I don't vote, I'm sinning?
that's what some people claim.
No, I know. I heard some scholars say that if you don't exercise your right to vote, you Muslims have to choose between right and evil, and you're in sin. And I felt bad for the person that said that, but I still didn't vote.
Yeah, I was just gonna go in and put in the writing ballot, Sheikh Amir Saeed. You know?
Don't even know who that is.
For Khadif.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, we got an exciting show for you guys. There's a lot happening, so let's just get started. And
Yeah, I would just
talk
say
about
Mehmet
some
Oz
stuff.
didn't win.
Oh yeah, Mehmet Oz ran.
Dr.
Yeah.
Oz.
Why did he even run? I don't know. I don't know what his
Pennsylvania.
positions are.
But anyways, yeah, who cares? That was just. But yeah, dude, what do we have for us today?
Well, Sheikh, I don't know if you heard, but popular French model named Marine Himar or Himar. Himar is like donkey.
Yeah.
You don't. That's not her name, right?
Probably not.
Himer?
It's not Al-Hamar. It's not Al-Hamar.
What is that?
I think it's like Al-Himan or something. Al-Haman.
Himer. What is that in Arabic?
Al-Ham. Well, it's not an Arabic name though.
It makes
I
sense.
think she's a French with like Spanish background.
Usually French people have like. I was assuming it was like Algerian or something.
So you're saying an Algerian became a Muslim?
No, sometimes they're like born into some of
If
these
it's Arabic,
liberal type
she probably
families.
means like Hemia or something.
I think it was like. I think she might have been Spaniard.
Yeah, but anyway, so tell me a little bit about this. What happened with this?
Oh, well, we should address her properly, Sister
should.
Marine.
Yes.
She's now accepted Islam.
Mashallah.
Mashallah.
Allahu Akbar.
Here we go.
Chef, you can look at the image. There's no
No,
face there.
I know. I want
Yeah,
to know. What,
it's
I don't
covered.
know what he was. I don't even know he's putting up in
Yeah,
the screen.
It's a halal
What does
image.
it say? Muslim. Oh, that's a.
Musulman olan mankin tebarak
But how do you? Where is the name?
Francine mannequin.
I can't see the
Oh
name,
wow,
but-
mannequin is a mannequin is a medal in Turkish or something. Islam dini.
Let's not try to read Turkish. bro.
Turkish.
Hey, this is recent. This happened recently.
Yeah.
How recent was
Just
it?
3 days ago.
Okay, got it.
It's pretty big news because apparently she's a pretty big celebrity on the internet. And, contrary to our counterparts, people who want to, shame Andrew Tate for becoming Muslim or, saying that he needs to disavow his previous life. We will not make any claims of such sort for
We're just glad she became Muslim. That's it.
May Allah reward Sister Marine. May Allah bless you in your guidance.
I mean,
The
May,
brother's got Andrew Tate and the sister's got this new model.
Mashallah.
Muslims got both of them, bro. That's all it is.
Well, one lucky brother
Tit
will
for tat.
inshallah marry her too.
Tit for tat.
Yeah, but as Muslims, as a new Muslim, you shouldn't, harass her and try to tell her that she should wear niqab and,
How dare were you a model? How'd you live with yourself?
yeah, you need to
How
disavow.
guilty? Don't you feel guilty about becoming a Muslim?
I bet you some of the pink-haired Muslims would be like, "How dare you, part of the feminist, the patriarchal system where you were made to objectify yourself, and now you want to become a Muslim? No, you can't.
they're gonna stone you to death.
Islam is about feminine. How dare you just put on a hijab and appropriate it? You know how long my journey is? I've been suffering for years trying to wear the hijab.
Why
How
don't you
dare
Why don't you remove all your pictures off the internet?
Yeah. Oh,
you know?
we love sister.
Well, so
But,
none of these types of commentaries, guys. Behave yourselves. Unless she doesn't accept my DM, then you guys can have your party.
I can't
Just go
believe this
ahead.
just happened.
I'm just,
So,
I kid.
no, yeah. So, no, dude, look, I heard I know you said that as a joke, but a lot of people said that too. The one win for the guys with Andrew Tate, one win for the girls, or whatever the case is.
No, it's one win for the guys and one win for the guys. Because
No. What,
It's a double win. Yeah.
what it is
It's a win for.
we don't make this about a male and female thing. That's not our construct. If anyone who becomes Muslim, alhamdulillah, bro. That's all there is. So congratulations to her.
But
Mubarak
it's
to
going to
her.
be a double win for one special Muslim guy, right? Because he's going to have Andrew Tate's brother and another wife.
You never know.
So it might be
You
a
never
double
know.
win for one lucky Muslim guy.
Yeah, bro. I'm just talking on an iman level, bro. You know what I mean? But
I
good.
think it's an iman booster to get married to a practicing Muslim. It's an iman booster.
Good. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I'm sure that's what Sim was thinking about, not about looks or anything. It's about the iman.
Yeah, of course. Sayyid Imran
Assumed
Munir. What else would he think?
Sayyid Iman.
Sayyid Munawwar Munir.
Sayyid Munawwar Iman Munir.
I don't like you guys.
Smim.
I'm muting your mics.
Go ahead, bro. So, yeah, bro. I think one thing that I thought was really interesting that Muslims can learn from, which is one of the reasons why I think we brought this up amongst ourselves, is the Matt Walsh interview. And I just want to, if we can, just cover this right away.
Let's just, before we get to that.
Makkah books.
Oh, we're no longer affiliated with Mecca Books. Yeah.
Screw you, Mecca Books.
No.
Yes, we're no longer
Bro.
affiliated. What do we do?
Bro.
I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just being a total. I don't know what's going on. I'm the layman guy here. I just show up and talk. I just
No,
heard that joking.
look, their checks cashed, all right? That's all I'm at. They didn't rip us off.
So
You're acting like the Saudis now.
Anyways, what were you saying? You said that before the Matt Walsh thing.
So Matt Walsh, well, no, we were talking about Sister Marine still.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about, do you have any other closing thoughts about that?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't?
Alhamdulillah,
Oh.
Mubarak. That's it, bro. Alhamdulillah.
Mort, do you have anything else?
I mean, hey, dude.
Some
More power
usually
to
do
you.
this,
Alhamdulillah.
yeah.
I like you know how I'll say this, right? Whether you become Muslim, you don't become Muslim, it's indifferent to us. Allah guides. We just we hope that Allah makes these people examples for other Muslims, right? Because we certainly don't need any more dead weight. We got plenty of dead weight that we're trying to get rid of anyways. But so, alhamdulillah. I mean, hey, we're always happy when someone accepts guidance, and if Allah chooses you, then we're happy with this qadr. If that even mean, and that includes Andrew Tate.
Yeah. So, you want to move on to which subject?
Yeah, so when I was watching that clip on YouTube, I ended up watching almost the whole podcast and listening to the podcast, the Joe Rogan podcast with Matt Walsh.
Let's play for the listeners.
Yeah.
So they can comment
Please, very important.
Are we going to go through the whole 14 minutes or?
No, of course not, Ish. We don't have that kind of time.
Yeah, I just was wondering what you were going to do.
This is called the commentary. We skip through things and find the interesting things to talk about.
Skip around like we skip through the ladies. Go ahead.
All right, here we go.
Am I opposed to it? I mean, I think that that every married couple should be open to life.
But what if they don't want to? Are you opposed to them being married? If marriage is only for procreation and to bond a family together, what about people that are deeply in love that never want to have children?
I don't think it's not only procreation, but that is one of the fundamental definitional aspects of it. Of course, there's more to marriage just than that.
And what about people that are infertile? They fall in love and they realize that they can't have babies. And they don't really necessarily want to adopt. Is that okay for them to be married? Because then by definition, the marriage falls into a completely different thing. Because then it's a bond of love. It's a union of love.
Sure. I mean, that doesn't change the nature of marriage, though. It's a little bit like I say that. What's the definition of a woman? Well, a woman is someone who, by her nature, can conceive children in her womb and bear children. And then the response is always, well, what about women who are infertile? Does that destroy your definition of woman? And it doesn't, because it's still a woman's nature to bear children. Not every woman will, and there will be disease and infertility and old age and all these things that will preclude that.
All right. So we got to pause it, make your commentary.
So I think that he tried. So in the beginning of the clip, he said that he believes in marriage after talking about the whole trans and LGBTQ movement and the gender identity. He talked about the next problematic pillar problem in our society is attack on marriage.
Yeah,
and that's why this clip started. And his idea was that, hey, look, this is an institution. This is how we've established it. This is how it's been forever. And we can't just have somebody come and change the definition of the institution, because then we don't have that institution anymore. What is it then?
Yeah.
And then he brought it to procreation, right? One of the purposes of marriage is procreation.
Yeah.
Right? Which is, the problem is that when he set that up as an argument, we see how Joe Rogan is going to ask questions and he's going to just rip it apart now, because he made that statement, and it was the opportunity to shine in another way, which we'll talk about, inshallah.
Yeah.
So now he tried to make an argument by saying, if a woman, what is a woman? He was kind of almost scratching the surface again, but he didn't come out like he was supposed to.
So let's go back to it.
But it's still of her nature to do so. And I would say the same thing for marriage. I mean, it is natural in a marriage for procreation to occur. It's not always going to happen in reality, though. But
one more thing,
Mm-hmm.
the whole nature with most people, especially today, if you say what's natural in nature, it's a very subjective thing. Because where we get nature in what's natural, or nature versus nurture, we're getting that from a certain paradigm. But to the rest of the world, if you say it's nature or natural, it's completely subjective what's natural. They're going to say, in species, homosexuality is nature also.
Yeah.
So we're different. Well, how are we different from them? We're mammals too, and we came from the. So it's a horrible way to argue, to say something's natural, especially for Muslims. That's why I'm hoping the Muslims pay attention to this clip right here, is because Muslims make this mistake all the time. I've seen many learned Muslims.
Clearly, we're seeing Christians make it, because Matt Walsh is a Christian, whether he wants to admit it or not.
Catholic. No, he admits it.
Yeah.
He says Catholic. He's very proud to be a Catholic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so you're seeing him ducking and diving, and he's not wanting to talk about his faith because he knows the audience that he appeals to. He wants to not make it a Christian. He doesn't want to be a preacher,
Not only that, but he knows that Joe Rogan's going to rip him apart if he talks about Catholicism.
Right. So let's go back to this.
that's still one of the natural functions of marriage. And married couples who can't conceive children, there are other ways to be parents, like adoption, for example.
If they want to. Right. But if people want to be married and don't want to ever have children, are you opposed to them being married?
Well, I wouldn't advocate a law that would prevent it.
But would it change the definition of what their marriage is to you because they don't want to have a family? They just want to have a loving bond?
I think this would be a couple that is rejecting one of the fundamental aspects of marriage. And
big problem right here. So people get married even at 50 years old.
Yeah.
60 years old. Old people get married, get remarried after a spouse passes away. He's put himself in a hole now. Now watch him kind of squirm as Joe Rogan keeps pressing him.
They should be open to life. I would hope that in the future they will be, but
isn't that just a personal choice? I mean, you can have a very fulfilling life if you just follow your pursuits and your dreams and your interests, and you find someone that shares those interests with you and you share time together. It's very fulfilling and loving.
Yeah, it's a personal choice, and that I'm not advocating for like a law that says that you if you're married you have to have X number of kids.
But then why are you opposed to two gay people doing that?
Well, because again, it's not about choice. It's about what this institution, marriage is an institution, and what is it, and what purpose does it serve? And I do not agree with tearing down or changing this definition, especially because the people who have changed the definition haven't come up with a new one. So they say, well, that's not what marriage is. So for thousands of years, we said marriage is the procreative union. And then we had the other side who came along and said, well, it's not that. Okay, well then, like, what is it exactly? And I know you said, well, it's people who love each other. Two people love each other. Well, but then why two people? Why do they have to love each other?
No, see, here he's going deeper and deeper and getting himself into a pickle. It's very simple. Two people who are making a commitment towards each other in the Western context, right?
Yeah.
Now within some, we know it's many more layers to that with marriage, but the way Joe can simply say is, well, it's just two people who want to make a commitment to live together, to work together, and have common objectives, share their happiness together, and have that bond, you know. So keep watching.
Well, before we do that, hold on.
Yeah.
The whole premise of like he's mentioning is wrong. How he attacked it. It's a very simple concept. I guess you guys already mentioned that he's afraid to speak about religion and say this is something that religion ordains. But a very simple argument would be this: hey, I don't have a problem with people copulating together. Define it as something else. Marriage, the concept of marriage is taken from religion. Don't try to appropriate something religious to a secular principle.
Yeah.
And say, leave marriage as marriage for religious institutions, and leave a common law marriage or a civil, whatever, maybe civil.
But the counter to that, Joe Rogan would say, is that marriage has been around even in many societies that have nothing to do with the religion. They have.
Can you name one?
Yeah, there's many societies. There's many kind of tribes all over the world that have marriage,
and they believe in some religious system.
But they have marriage, and it's not defined in their religion that it has to be.
No, it's been.
I think what he's saying that marriage is actually a religious institution.
And
it's religion that brought marriage.
I mean, the idea of marriage itself is under God, right? That's generally, and even in the American context, right? When they understood marriage, forget about thousands of years ago. We're talking about right now in the framework of the Constitution. These were people who had a certain outlook, that they were people. Marriage was granted. Why? Because the context was that two people got married in the church.
Yeah.
They didn't need. Before, you didn't have to register this with the government, right? It was something the church did. It was something you went to your local place and did, and then people recognized you were marriage, and then you registered yourself if you wanted to. But beforehand, people, until modern laws in America, people didn't have to always go register they were married.
Yeah.
They never did that. It was something.
It would be
But it was something the church handled, right? So what I'm saying is, in the context of American law and how it developed in American society, it was something uniquely based on religion.
Yeah, and that's what he should have said to Joe Rogan.
Yeah, and
also.
I'm saying, so in that context, let religion keep itself independent from secular life. If you truly want to separate this, right? Say, hey, you do your marriages in your churches, synagogue, mosque, temples, whatever. When it comes to the court, when you do a civil procedure, it's not called marriage. It's called a civil union, right? And that way, you separate the religion, and the debate is over. Because what can a person argue now from a religious perspective? What's their objective? This is a secular country. They can call. There's nothing about civil unions or anything in any scripture, right? This is what the court. For example, do you find people protesting against common law marriages or unions? No one cares about that. The issue that they're taking to is with marriage.
Yeah.
So separate the religion from the secular aspect of it.
Yeah.
And then the problem is solved.
Yeah.
So let's get back to it.
All these kinds of questions. You get into what if they're in the same family? What if brothers and sisters want to marry? And I know every time that comes up, the advocates for gay marriage will say, well, that's a slippery slope argument. That's a fallacious, but it's actually not. It's like we're trying to get to what do you even think this institution is now, since you've rejected out what we were saying it was. And I've never found a compelling definition. And any definition offered, it's like, well, what's even the point then? Why do we even need this now?
I just don't see how a gay marriage in any way damages a straight marriage. I don't see it at all. It doesn't make any sense to me. It just seems to me that people want to be. Look, if you wanted to look at logic, especially in our modern society, which is pretty fucked when it comes to relationships, it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 50% of all marriages end in divorce anyway. They don't make it. I don't know if anything would damage marriage and damage the institution of marriage is the option of divorce. I don't think gay people getting married in any way, shape, or form changes a bond that you have with your wife. It's just called marriage. It's a human invented thing. If we decide that gay people can get married too, I just don't see how it damages anything. I don't think it.
So let's get back to it. He's making a reasonable argument.
No, he is. It's a good argument. On the face value.
How does it damage anything related to marriage as an institution? there's two different ways Matt could go about this. He could talk about the fundamental nature of what meanings are, what words mean, and he can go towards that trajectory. And he says, like, wait, words have meaning, and we have to abide by those meanings. There's civil unions that gay people can be, can go towards, and they can find love and happiness in the same meaning that heterosexual couples have in that kind of a union. But what societies across the world have established is that marriage is between a man and a woman, designed the primary vehicle to establish the most basic building block of society, right? And establish an argument that way. But what he's doing is he's just pigeonholing himself, and Rogan's coming out to be looking like the more reasonable person.
Yeah. Right. And I think also another way to deconstruct Rogan's argument is this. Is it simply just based on people being happy together, having fulfilling lives? That entire premise is subjective.
It is.
What's fulfilling to you and to me are entirely different. And granted, it is a personal choice, but how far do we go with it? For example, right? Why do we say that a 14-year-old can't marry a 25-year-old or a 13-year-old? Someone could be, they can live very fulfilling lives, right? Who are you to tell them they can't?
Yeah.
Right? Why do we not allow that? How would that damage the institution of marriage? For a straight marriage, it probably, maybe in large percent, it won't. But what we're saying is that there's a certain standard that we conduct ourselves with. Why? Because we know that as it becomes more popular, we normalize certain behaviors. They have a certain impact on society, right? Another example is, what is the harm of a brother and sister getting married?
Yeah, he mentioned that though, right? He mentioned incest. Right? Yeah,
but I'm saying, but the point you put Joe on the spot then. You say if it's simply about just pleasure and getting maximum output of pleasure and happiness and companionship, then who are you to say that's wrong?
Yeah.
Because you already made the argument that you don't want children, or someone doesn't want children. What if these incestuous brother and sister decide they don't want to have children either? What is the harm then?
Yeah.
Right? Or what if they're two gay brothers and two gay sisters, right? Or mother and son, right? This is fulfilling to them. This is meaningful to them. They're happy. They're enjoying it. Should we now then embrace that and say that's a marriage?
All right, let's go back to it. See what else we got.
More.
Tears down the definition of marriage in any way. It just opens up the possibility that people who are gay won't be discriminated against.
Yeah, I don't think that a gay couple existing directly impacts. There's a gay couple and wherever, and I'm with my wife in our house. Like obviously, there's not. But I'm not talking about on the individual level. I'm talking about on the societal level.
Right.
I would agree that divorce, especially this no-fault divorce, rampant divorce, I don't think it's as high as 50%. I know that's often quoted. I'm not sure where that comes from, but it is high. It's too high. And
Chris Rock has a great joke about that. He said those are just the people with the courage to get out. It's like how many cowards stay.
But it's also true that the advocates for what we call now traditional marriage, which I just call marriage, but the advocates for traditional marriage put themselves at a disadvantage by especially in the churches, like allowing this rampant divorce to occur. And then you've already sort of given up on some marriage is supposed to be monogamous and permanent, as well as procreative. Well, you've given up monogamy and permanence, and so now it's not. That's two of the three legs gone, and so now this assault was waged on the procreative part of it, and it was difficult to withstand it because the institution had already been weakened. So I agree with you there. But my answer to that is to try to reinforce what marriage is, not to just give up on it entirely. And I still think you're left with this question of, like, if marriage is not what I'm saying it is, then why do we even need it? What's the point? I mean, you're saying it's a man-made institution.
Yes.
But you're also, like, the way that you're presenting it, it's a totally meaningless institution.
No,
they don't need it at all.
No, it's not meaningless. It's because it means something to the people that get married.
So it's just a subjective, symbolic thing. I mean, what?
Yeah.
So if you're
kind of what it is. Look, there's a massive responsibility when you're married and when you have children to keep your family together and you raise and keep everybody happy and healthy. And there's great reward to that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always work out. it's not a, it's, people change. People are fucked up. It doesn't always work. And so I don't think it should be outlawed because 50% of the people fall apart. Just like I don't think it has any effect whatsoever on a straight couple if a gay couple decides that they want to make it official. And that's what it is to them. It gives them a feeling that they're accepted and appreciated and that they're not discriminated against because they happen to be homosexual.
So, well, what you're articulating to me is the damage that's done by gay marriage to the institution of marriage.
But how is it done? How is that in any way damaged straight people?
Because we are making the institution meaningless.
But it's not meaningless.
Well, but
it's very meaningful to the people that have it.
Subjective, symbolic, and it's about your own personal feelings.
Isn't it, though?
Well, no, I would say that it's not.
Well, if it's not subjective and it's not symbolic,
it codifies and protects and gives a name.
This is where he's really messing up.
The stream died.
Oh.
People are saying in the comments. Hold on one
What's going on,
second.
Shay?
What's up, man?
What's going on, brother?
How are you?
Alhamdulillah, man. What's going on with you?
Gave my left.
No, it's okay. Your right was far away.
Oh, stream suspended for policy violations.
Oh no.
Oh, so we're not even on YouTube right now?
I don't know. They suspended it.
There's an audio too?
Huh?
The whole thing's suspended? Audio too?
Yeah. What did you even say?
I don't know.
No, it's probably including...
Oh, because you were playing the clip
Yeah, it's saying I'm playing the clip.
for too long.
Well-
You have to do it 30 seconds.
How long was the clip?
He keeps playing it, so you have to do like 30 seconds, stop and talk. We can't let it keep going on and on. So is it allowing you to come back on?
I'm trying to figure out.
So dumb. We need to start moving to Rumble, bro. Start moving to Rumble.
Can you do live streaming?
I think you can. I don't know if you can or not yet.